Okay, well, good Wednesday afternoon, Jet fans. It is 2:01. It is October 30th. I can't believe tomorrow's Halloween. We're almost into November. And we are going to be starting week 9 of the NFL tomorrow night. But today is what I like to call bonus coverage of the Jets. We don't look ahead to the games this weekend. We don't look back to the games that passed. We just discuss possibly, the team news this week and the team that they'll be facing. So before we go into the team that they'll be facing, let's recap what happened yesterday. The trade deadline was 4 o'clock yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, 10/29, 2019. And right away in the morning, Twitter was all abuzz that the Jets were trading Robbie Anderson and Le'Veon Bell. Both players were on the trading block. Both players were available, and the Jets were going to be fielding offers. It wasn't set up. The Jets were calling out to teams, or teams were calling out to the Jets. Now, this comes a day after the Jets dealt first-round pick Leonard Williams to the Giants. Now, in any other year, any other season, this trade wouldn't really mean all that much. The Giants and the Jets are home-time rivals. They face each other every 4 years in the regular season. They face each other every year in the preseason. Each team alternating the home game. Honestly, the only reason why this game has this trade has any bearing is in 2 weeks the Jets are hosting the Giants, and the way this offensive line is played for the Jets, you can see how Leonard Williams could have a big game, and this could all just look like a backfire into the Jet strategy. But with Leonard Williams, he is not going to be given a big contract by the Jets. He would be able to walk after this season. So they got something mid-season for him. They got a third round next year. They got a fifth in 220. If Leonard Williams does resign with the Giants, it goes down to a fourth. So not bad, but right now, I forgot what the stat is, but there hasn't been. First of all, in the 2015 draft, there's nobody on this team. In the first round pick, going back to, I don't even know what year, maybe 13, we have not re-signed our first round pick in probably 8 years, 9 years. And this is going from Tannenbaum, Idzik, to McCagnon, and now Joe Douglas. But obviously, Joe Douglas hasn't had a draft under this team. So, okay, the Jets this year have dealt with mono. They've dealt with CJ's injury. They've dealt with Jamal Adams being benched and then going on social media and taking the Jets off his bio. They've dealt with getting blown away by the Patriots and seeing ghosts. They've dealt with not one, not two, but 3 backup quarterbacks coming in, I believe. Let's go back to the preseason when they couldn't sign a field goal kicker. So this has been the year from hell. And I have lived through 1-15 season, 3-13 season, 4-12 seasons, and this season is just eating away, because in the preseason, in the mini camps, I really thought this team had an outside chance to win a wild card. Sam coming into his second year, he looked really good towards the end of last year. Gase supposedly the quarterback whisperer, which I was never high on Gase, but the jury's still out. I'm just going to have patience, and for a Jet fan, that's very hard to come by right now. 51 years, patience is just dwindling away. You got Mosley, you got Crowder, you got Le'Veon, you got Adams now in his third year, ready to take a stand. You got Quentin Williams, a first-round pick, and right now nothing seems to be working. So that has been the state of the Jets. Then you get to the trade deadline, and it's Robbie Anderson, Le'Veon Bell. Now, if they would have got a 3 or a 2 for Robbie, I think you pull the trigger, because Robbie is in a year where we can re-sign him. We have to give him a match or a contract. Get something for him. I don't know if the Jets want to deal with him with a big contract long term. He did have some issues off the field a couple of years back, but he seems to have been a good chemistry. Seems to have good chemistry with Sam Darnold. The last game or two, though, Robbie seemed a little lazy out there. And hey, it happens. You're on a bad day at work, and it happens. The thing is this is magnified because we played in front of millions of people, and they're getting paid millions of dollars. So and I'm not saying he did, but for a wide receiver not to try or not to give it 100%, or any player, makes you scratch your head. So you go into it and you say, all right, Robbie's probably the least of the two that you want to see. You don't want to see stay. Even though you want to keep everybody. Then you have Bell. Bell hasn't played in a year. He has less than 500 yards rushing through 7 games. He's averaging like 3 yards a rush, but last week I think he had 12 touches in the whole game, or 9 touches in the whole game, and he's not being utilized right. You say, all right, even though having a great running back that can come out of the backfield and catch the ball and be a great safety net for Sam, what are they going to offer you for Bell? Even though if they utilize Bell the correct way, you don't want to get rid of him. He could be a leader. And to Bell's to Bell's credit, he has been nothing but a class act with the media and on the field. He has not gotten into any trouble. He has said all the right things. He went over to Sam after the Monday night game, hit him on the head. He was like, "Hey, can't get any burst in this. The only way is up." So that's and everybody, I guess, had mixed feelings about bringing Bell here. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be, he held out, but so far so good. And he should be the one that's most frustrated. So now about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, Twitter comes out and Jamal Adams is on the trading block. Now Jamal is the most outspoken Jet on this team. He is the leader with the defense. He's more vocal than Sam Darnold. He's more, I don't want to say flamboyant, but he's more boisterous. He's out there. Sam, handles his pressures. He handles his interviews. Jamal is a New York player. I have actually met Jamal a few times. My kids have met Jamal a few times. They have had autographs and pictures with him. He says nothing but positive things. In the preseason, in the offseason, after the draft, everything was, this is the next step. We're going to be winners, And then a couple of things happened. They lost that game to Buffalo, and if you still feel good, you're like, all right, listen, they lost by 1, they're in the game. You find out Sam was sick. Then they lose to the Browns, and he gets benched. Then, these things happen, where the team just seems to be falling apart. And then Jamal comes out with, a couple of days ago, I don't walk away from adversity. But Jamal, you stopped doing your radio show on the local radio. You took the Jets out of your bio on your social media. Now, you may say this is childish. Who looks at that? In this day and age, social media is looked at by everybody. When the President of the United States, whether you agree with him or not, tweets, everybody tweets. Okay. And just looking at a stat, this is the first season that the Jets are 1-6 since 2014. They finished that year 4-12. Okay. And that was Rex Ryan's last season. So you come to this, and now Jamal Adams is on the table, and you have the Cowboys. They want the Cowboys. Jamal comes from Texas. He'd be going home, blah, blah, blah. So now you're going through Twitter, and now there's a quote from Ryan Clark, I believe it was. It said, not a quote, but Clark is tweeting saying, Jamal Adams says he wants to come home to play. Okay. Jamal Adams is a first-round pick. He's in his 3rd year of his contract. He has, I believe, 2 years left on it, or at least 1 more year left on it. And you got to say, well, if you're going to trade him, I don't agree on trading him, but if you're going to trade him, you need a king's ransom. As the day progressed, it seemed that Le'Veon wasn't going to be traded. The offers weren't good enough for him, or I don't know if there were any offers made, but that was the report. Robbie, they said the best offer was a fourth rounder, and good for the Jets for holding tall. You know, maybe if they do want to get rid of him and don't want to keep him, they trade him closer to the draft. Jamal Adams basically went down to the wire. I think there was like 10 minutes left when they said, you know, it's probably not going to get done. It was later reported that the Jets wanted 2 number ones, one this year, one next year, and another pick this year. And the Cowboys at one point had the safety coach, the quarterback coach, and the head coach all talking about it, all in a meeting. That was a report. Was Jerry Jones crunching the numbers or what have you? Okay. Turns out he doesn't get traded. Adam Gase goes on local radio and says it was news to him that they were going to trade him. Joe Douglas does a press conference, goes on local radio. You know, we didn't initiate any calls. we received a call. And as a GM, it is my duty to not turn down any calls. Now, he didn't say turn down a deal, turn down a call. He received a call. If they're going to offer you 3 number ones, 2 number ones, if the price is right, you know what? Jamal Adams is tradable at that point. Okay? He is not Troy Polamalu. He is not Ed Reed. He is a good young safety who could be a great young safety, but he's not there yet. And if the Jets can grab some capital, then maybe you go with it. But the price has to be perfect. Perfect. You know, this is a seller's market with Jamal. So you got to give me my price. Well, after all this, Jamal tweets that earlier in the week, he went to management and told them he didn't want to be traded. He also said that Joe Douglas said he wasn't going to be traded. And then he said, I was on the trading block today. Joe Douglas went behind my back. You can look at this thing 2 ways. The first way is it's a business. It stinks. I'd like to see him stay. He was, you know, taking offers. Make me a deal. You know, it's like, you know, somebody comes and knocks on your door and says, you're not selling your house, but I'd like to make you a deal. Okay, make me that deal. Give me top dollar, and I'll think about it. Same thing with Jamal Adams right now. Okay? He should be the anchor on this defense. He should be the leader on this defense. What a leader doesn't do is air dirty laundry to the media. Online, in a tweet, in Instagram. Okay? It shows his age. It shows his lack of, I don't know, I want to say couth, but you have a problem with Joe Douglas, go knock on Joe Douglas's desk. Go knock on his door. Hey, Mr. Douglas, you told me we're going to trade me. What's going on? Now, Joe can turn around and say, hey, listen, everything they were giving me, it was worth giving you away. It wasn't worth the trade. You're worth a lot more than what they were giving me. But for Jamal to come out and do this publicly, he looks bad, Jamal. You know, you want to say that putting him on the trade table is burning bridges? Jamal burnt the bridge. Because all the GM was doing his job. Okay? Jamal aired dirty laundry. Be a man, go behind closed doors, and speak to your boss. Don't go on Twitter. If you're working at a company and you go on Facebook or you go on Twitter and you bash them and give them secrets, you're liable to be fired. Okay? That's my point. The other point is, it seems as if the Cowboys may have gotten in touch with Jamal, which could be tampering on their part. So, if somebody from the Cowboys called Jamal Adams or called Jamal Adams' agent, and he comes out and says, yeah, Jamal would like to go home to Texas and on a team that has a chance to win the division and maybe make the playoffs and be on a team with Zach and with Elliott and with Dak or whatever you want to, and Amari Cooper and whatnot. Yes. But the Jets, at this point, did not initiate the contact. They fielded a phone call. Keeping that in mind, there were two other social media posts yesterday. One by Robbie Anderson, who was probably the most likely to be traded. And his was almost like a thank you for making me still be here today or what have you. There was something like that. Thankful for where he was. It was a positive one towards the Jets and towards where he was. And the other was Le'Veon Bell in a video saying, patience. We're going to right the ship. It takes patience to get better. This is a guy who hasn't played in over a year, who came here thinking that he was going to solidify a role on the offense to take it to the next level. And the offense and the play calling has let him down. Because if you see him on the field, he's trying. 93% of his yards gained are after first contact. That's ridiculous. Which means before he gains a yard, 9.3 times out of 10, he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. That's crazy. Before he gains a yard. So these two positives come out, and then you have Le'Veon Bell, who everybody thought was going to be the troublemaker. You got Robbie Anderson, who probably was the most likely to get traded, but you have Jamal, who is the prez, and all this adversity he's going to take. And when things got tough, he was looking like he was ready to go. You guys need to get on the same page. I'm sorry. If any other company was run like this, they'd be shutting the doors, or they would be, firing people. Getting on the case of firing people. Yesterday, I was on ESPN the radio. I spoke to Michael Kay and Don LaGreca, talking about how I don't trust this regime yet to make picks, and that's why I wouldn't do the Jamal Adams trade. And they're saying, Don LaGreca was basically, well, you got to trust him. Well, why? 51 years I haven't trusted anything. When do we get to that point where, we trust him? Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. The other thing that was discussed was that Adam Gase brought in Joe Douglas, so Joe Douglas will not fire Adam Gase. From what I understand, Adam Gase reports to Chris Johnson, and Joe Douglas also reports to Chris Johnson. Usually the GM is the boss over the coach. Usually the GM brings in his own coach. This was done backwards again. Rex was here with Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum got let go. Idzik came in. Idzik and Rex were let go on the same day. McCagnon was brought in after, and then hires a coach after they brought in a panel, or these, I forgot who they brought in, to be a consultant on hiring the coach. So the last two GMs have not hired their own coach, and the last coach hired the GM. That can't happen. But hopefully they can make this work. I don't see how it's going to work, but hopefully they can make it work. So that is the story with the Jets right now. That is the news this week. Also Chris Herndon, who is a good guy, met him a few times, was suspended the first 4 games, and now has been out the last 4 games with an injury. They haven't had players on this field. Mosley with a groin injury week 1 is going to miss another 5 to 6 weeks. So all in all, C.J. Mosley may play 3 games in a season. The first game of the year and then the last 3, or the last 2. Put him on IR. There's no reason. The Jets play the Dolphins this week, and before we get into a preview on Friday with them and the rest of the NFL, the Dolphins are 0-7. They blew a 14-0 lead on Monday night. Fitzpatrick is the quarterback. I see nothing but the Jets losing this game. If it's on paper, it's just what happens. I'm looking at the history of the Jets. And some games I was at, some games I watched on TV. Some games I just remember as being a young kid watching. First game when you think of the Jets and the Dolphins, to me, there were 3 right off the bat. Spike game, Mud Bowl, Monday Night Miracle. Okay? Those 3 games. The other game is the shootout in September in '86 between Marino and Kenny O'Brien. Wesley Walker catches a touchdown with no time left on the clock. Wesley Walker catches a touchdown in overtime. I think Wesley Walker had 4 touchdown passes caught that day. The Spike game was actually November 27th, 94, was the day after my birthday. The Jets had a lead, and they blew it late, and of course, Marino faked a spike and hit James Ingram on a touchdown, I believe, with James Ingram. Monday Night Miracle, Jets were down 30-7. And again, you want to talk about mic'd up, the ghost. Jason Taylor, who was very critical of Fireman Ed and the Jets and their fans, was mic'd up. And he kept saying, we're not going to lose this, we can't lose this, we won't lose this. Oh, look, they're headed towards the exits. And at the end of the game, the Jets won in overtime on a tremendous comeback that I can honestly say me and my father stayed from pregame to way after, because my car wound up, battery wound up dying after the game. But we got home like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning that night. That night was also, if you remember back, you New York sports fans, the day after Roger Clemens and the Mike Piazza bat throwing incident happened in the World Series. I actually saw Clemens at the Jet game that night. He was doing something for QVC. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I don't believe was governor yet, was in the booth with the Monday Night Crew. I think it was Al Michaels and the guy from Weekend Update. And Arnold Schwarzenegger said, you watch, Wayne Quebec, not Quebec, is going to catch the winning touchdown. And it was close. Quebec caught the touchdown and got them within or tied the game. So there's a lot that happened. There was a game back in 91 where the Jets signed Raul Allegre, last game of the season. They're in Miami. Dolphins take the lead with 44 seconds left. They're up by 3, I believe. The Jets go downfield, and on a third down or whatever, they run a draw that brings them into field goal range. Raul Allegre belts it through the uprights, and then he hits one in overtime and sends them to the playoffs. So the Jets and the Dolphins have a lot of history. Of course, one of them is also the Brett Favre comes in the Jets. The Jets get rid of Pennington. Pennington goes to Miami, and they beat the Jets, and they win the division on the last game of the season in the Meadowlands. So that is the Jet-Dolphin history from what I can remember. The Mud Bowl, it goes back to Don Shula. They say he had a gripe with the Jets because they beat him when he was with the Colts. I don't know, but, they left the tarp off the Orange Bowl. The next day, the fast Jet offense could not really move much. A.J. Dewey, I think, had 3 interceptions or 2 interceptions that day. I forgot how many he brought back for touchdowns. And the Jets missed out on going to the Super Bowl, which they would have played Joe Montana and the 49ers. The Dolphins wound up losing. That was Marino's, I believe it was Marino as a quarterback. Only time he went to the Super Bowl, and he lost. I believe that was Marino, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Marino went afterwards. But that is the matchup this week. The Jets will be at Miami, and God, if the Jets lose to Miami, do they implode this coaching regime? Do they give it to Greg Williams? Do they just, it's just ridiculous. Does Jamal go out there and play with his heart? It's just, there's so many things going on here, so many stories that should not be stories that are revolving around this team, and that is also a negative. It's just a low point right now. I will be watching this game regardless, hoping for the best. A win, and they say, oh, you beat the Dolphins. It's a big deal. You rooted the draft. A loss, you lost to the Dolphins. Oh, my God. So there's a no-win situation right now. I just want to see improvement. Hopefully we'll see improvement. But that's it for midweek Jet bonus video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Check us out online, www.nyjetstories.com. That's www.nyjetstories.com. We are on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @NYJetStories. We are on Facebook. NYJetStories is our Facebook page. But also, of course, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching this, leave us a comment. Leave us feedback. Let us know what you're feeling. Go Jets, and we'll get together on Friday. We'll discuss the upcoming game and the other games that are going on in the NFL this week. All right. Hopefully there won't be any other news to report, but as of right now, I'm waiting to hear what Jamal Adams had to say today to the media. Today is when the media is made available to the players. Have a great day, guys. Go Jets, and happy Halloween.